Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Uncensored Critic podcast. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. I really appreciate your time. It means the world to me. So, thank you very, very, very much. Today, we welcome along Alexa Morden. If anyone who's not familiar with Alexa's work, the co host of the 98% podcast, which is available whenever you get it, Apple, Spotify, or any other channels. But let's take a moment to introduce Alexa as the actress that she is. Alexa graduated from the Manchester School of Theatre and has worked extensively, winning over 40 25 best actress awards for the worldwide screen festivals for her leading part in The Colour of Spring, and that was over 40 nominations. For film, she has appeared in Lost in Time, Colour of Spring, and The War Below. Short films, Hers is Hers, Stand By, which was nominated for a BAFTA, Stuffy, and October Horse. For TV, she has appeared in The Incredible Adventures of Professor Branestawn. Hopefully I've said that right.
Brainstorm.
Branestawn, thank you. Opposite Adrian Scarborough, amongst many other people. For anyone who doesn't know, that's Pete from Gavin and Stacey. Fresh Meat and Skins. And for stage, she has appeared in A Play in a Day at the Manchester Royal Exchange, Vinegar Tom, and Bronte. And yes, and as I said just now, the host of the 98% podcast, a show that's dedicated to the 98% of actors out there currently fighting for their dreams, and of which, of course, they will achieve. And Alexa is a driving force behind that. And it's a pleasure to have you along today, Alexa. How are you?
Thank you for having me. It's interesting being on this side of the podcast table today and being the one interviewed instead of interviewing. So thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
Oh no, my pleasure, my pleasure. I mean, and for anyone who's not familiar, you're actually zooming me from Vancouver right now because yeah, thanks for. I know it's early morning over there for you. Thanks for giving me your morning time and everything. It's great.
Yes. Yeah, it's I'm physically in the PST time zone, but my brain most of the time is still back in the UK because of all the work I do with the 98% and sort of most of our audience is there. So I kind of see myself as having a foot in two places, but one foot maybe being more metaphorical than literal, you know.
Brilliant stuff. So we start at the beginning. So to begin at the beginning, where did it all come from? The love of acting.
I've never wanted anything else. My parents said I was 3 when I first said I wanted to be an actor, so I literally can't really remember a life before that. And then it was the very classic, I got very luckily they put me in drama classes from the age of about 6. And then when I wasn't doing that, I was putting on plays in my living room. I was blackmailing my sister to be my co-star slash props assistant slash costume assistant slash anything else. Then as I got into like teenage years, really started taking even more seriously of, like private drama classes, group drama classes. I started doing Lambda exams. And it was about, 13 years old where I started mapping out, okay, I want to get to drama school. So what do I need to do? So all the GCSEs I picked, the A levels I picked, the part-time work that I would pick up around school was to put towards saving to, get to drama school. And then after I left school, I decided to take a gap year so that I could work 3 jobs to save more money and also do more plays. So I started working with the Gloucestershire Youth Players, which is, or was at the time, one of only 2 youth theatre companies that solely did Shakespeare. I'm a big Shakespeare lover. So through that year, I did some Shakespeare plays and auditioned for drama school. So that a year after that, I got into one drama school, which you said was the Manchester School of Theatre. And I went there after my gap year. So I sort of ticked all the boxes, I think, to like get to the next stage. But then when I came out into the industry and realized how difficult it is and like, oh, you can tick all the boxes and still not sort of reach that pot of gold at the end.
Mm.
I had a few years of, really struggling, even though I was working. And then that sort of led to the birth of the 98%, which I'm sure you're going to get to in another question.
I'm sure we definitely will. We definitely will. So yeah, tell me about your time at the Manchester School of Theatre. How was that for you?
Pretty terrible. Which may not be the answer people were expecting. I do talk about my experience at drama school on the 98%. I have never named them really before, like as speaking about it, but it's been spoken about in Deadline now, and here I am. So I was there obviously 10 plus years ago, so a lot of things have changed, but I very much struggled. I was sort of bullied by a faculty member is how I would say it now, and how other people explain it to me. And looking back, you know, as a woman in my 30s now, looking back at 19, 20-year-old me, it was this idea that these faculty members or these, you know, guest people from the industry, like they were the keeper of the keys, they were the holy grail, you know, they held my career in their hands. And I was just so hell bent on like having to impress and being like, I need to do this right, I need to impress this person, I need to be good enough, I need to feel valuable. And looking back, and especially for girls and women, you know, being in this world and how we always seem to be looking for validation, or like having to be, you know, a good girlfriend or a good daughter or a good sister and all of this. And for me, I brought that into drama school of being like, I have to be the best student. I have to, I guess I was trying to prove to myself as much as them, so that when I wasn't getting the feedback, or when I was being treated in the ways, you know, they say the age-old thing of you got to tear them down to build them up again. But in my case, and in the case of many others, you get torn down and then you don't get built back up again. So I went into drama school, as you heard, you know, with all this experience and all this confidence and an incredibly supportive family and friends, and I had everything going for me. And then I left drama school like a total shell of myself. And then because of that desperation of needing to feel valid, I took that into the industry, and that turned into, I'm only valid if I'm booking work, if I'm with this agent, if I'm auditioning for these things. And then that just brings you on the downward spiral to not feeling like you're worth anything, because this industry doesn't really care about your hopes and dreams individually. You know, we're sort of in this business machine. And yeah, again, that sort of led to the birth of the 98%. So sort of a long story. I mean, in terms of the training is invaluable. Drama school training is like, it's historically, you know, being over here in North America, it's very interesting because they look at British trained actors as, you know, really in an elite of their own. And I understand that, because it's 3 years of classical conservatoire training. And I'm really, really glad to have that under my belt. But the shame was that I wasn't focusing on the training and what I was learning as much as I would have if I was at drama school at this age, or in my late 20s, or like after, you know, learning and coming into myself, because I was so conscious of, I have to be worthy to them. Like, I want them to see me as good as I feel, and just constantly chasing validation and seeing other people in my year, you know, be the favorites. And apparently, you know, from people we hear, that still goes on. You know, people are picked as the favorites and they're sort of put on this pedestal. And then it creates this weird dynamic of like, why aren't I that person? And so, yeah, it was. And also now at this time, like, I look back at my life, and I was in, you know, like an abusive relationship as a teenager. So then going into drama school and like trying to find all of this validation, I guess I was always looking for it from external sources. So when I wasn't getting that from drama school, I was like, what the heck is going on? But then when I graduated with 7 agent offers and 2 professional TV credits under my belt. And I still felt like I wasn't good enough because of these 3 years of just being in torment of like, anything I do isn't good enough, and being made to feel like I wasn't really ready for this industry or to be an actor. And I proved more wrong. But yeah, at the time it was a struggle.
Yeah. Well, no, it's very brave of you to share that. You know, I'm sure many people, and I could speak for myself as well, that you mentioned that where they're favorites, there's a massive lot of favoritism in wherever you go. Like, oh, because, and it's all simply like an extensive version of the like the playground, you know. They've got the most friends, they've got the most people following them on Instagram, therefore they are better than everyone else. It's like, that is bullshit. That is total bullshit.
And it is. And like, it might be true within drama school. Like, someone in my year was told, by this same person that I was having a very different experience with.
Mm.
They were like, "Oh, you will have 3 professional jobs by Christmas." And that actor graduated without an agent and without any work for at least a year. And that's totally normal and says nothing about that actor's capabilities or talent. But who are these drama school faculty members to sort of make one actor feel like they're worth nothing and another that they're going to get everything they could dream of, when that's not actually based in reality? And yeah, it's a really, and also like the whole mental health thing. Like, I was diagnosed with PTSD during my second year of drama school, so I was like sneaking off to counseling, and I felt like I couldn't tell anyone. And now thankfully we're in a new sort of realm of talking about mental health, but at the time it was, you have to give this image of yourself that everything's great and you're booked and busy and blessed and like everything's going great, even when everything's falling apart inside. And I'm glad that we're sort of moving out of that. But it was definitely, something that I struggled with, to the point that I remember in my last show at drama school looking around my cast members, and they were all crying because they were so upset that they were leaving and drama school was over, and I was crying because I was so relieved to get out of there and this toxicity and like get me into the industry. And I really like grieve for my younger self of like the experience that I wanted from the age of 8, knowing that drama school was my goal as a stepping stone into the industry, and then it going so totally the opposite way I hoped. Was a real struggle. So if anyone out there is listening and you've just graduated, or you're at drama school and you're not having a great time, like, this is a means to an end. Concentrate on the craft, concentrate on what you're learning. And when you graduate, like, that is a new slate. Anything you've been told, whether it's positive or negative, doesn't actually really mean anything. Like, you're there to forge your own path in this career, and just don't hold on to any of the toxicity or negativity that you may have been made to feel during training.
Yeah, it doesn't serve you at all. So, and it's a lesson I had to learn myself, simply because, I'd always felt different. Like, I was never in the quote unquote popular crowd, whatever that means. I've always felt like, am I an outsider? Am I not worthy of all this? And of course, I had to go through a few things myself. But ultimately, it was to say to yourself, you are the master of your own destiny, and all this stuff, all this in this generation of being popular is therefore gives you credit to be a better human being than anyone else. And it's like no, that's complete nonsense. That is utter nonsense. And one thing for anyone who's listening to this, who is about to go to drama school or having a similar experience to what Alexa was talking about, also, you are there for yourself. You're there for yourself, and it doesn't matter if you don't get invited to the parties, or you don't get, like, everyone's surrounding you and telling you you're amazing all the time. And it's like, you just fuck that bullshit. And that doesn't matter. You're there to enjoy yourself and make the best experience for yourself, and actually working on your craft away from all the parties and being all distracted from all that. And actually probably getting in touch with agents, starting thinking about what jobs you want to do. Being independent can help you get to a place where you can leave drama school, or in the future, and you go, oh, and you bump into one of those people and you go, oh, okay, I've booked this job, I'm doing really well, I'm getting consistent work. What are you doing? And then doing absolutely nowhere near as good as you, because you've followed your own path, and you were conscious enough to say, all right, if you're not going to spend time with me, I won't spend time with you. I'm going to focus on getting on with what I love to do. And ultimately, if you go solo, I feel then the right people start coming to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And also, like, when you're, a lot of the people going to drama school are, early 20s. And at that point, drama school is sort of seen as the end goal. Like what I was explaining, everything I did at school, all my extracurricular, the gap year, like the 3 jobs I worked so that I could be a year ahead of my student loan, that was all to get to drama school. But I want to say now that one day drama school will be nothing but a memory. It will literally be a tiny blip in your career.
Very true.
And right now it feels like everything. And, I listened to you there, and I was thinking about, whenever we would have guest directors in who actually worked in the industry, sort of outside external people coming in, I always got amazing feedback, and I was given great roles, and like my one-to-ones were amazing. But then when I went into this one person in particular who, was just working in the drama school, and it was total opposite. But I felt like his word meant more, and that just shows the warped idea at the time, because drama school is everything, when it's like, well, I should have been focusing on what the actual people working in the industry were saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a stepping stone in your journey, and take what is benefiting you from it, and then everything else just leave behind, because there's a lot
Yeah.
more to come.
Yeah. And just, yeah, it's a fleeting moment in time, and make sure that you are the top of your list. And if you're not there, then put yourself there, because that's the most important thing. Look after yourselves, guys, and do good things, and good things will happen to you. Simple as. So I think that's a good lead on to we talked what we were just talking about onto your podcast, the 98%. And I mentioned briefly in the intro that I'm right thinking the name of the podcast is to symbolize the 98% of actors who are currently, we're either in work and then out of work and just pushing to get stuff. Yeah, was I right about saying that?
Yes, I mean, more sort of specifically than that, it was when Katie and I, who's now like my best friend, we were decided to do this podcast. I sort of had this idea in this pit of depression where I was just like, I have good work behind me. I've done things that I thought would lead to really exciting things, and they haven't. Like, why isn't the playbook working out for me? And then every time you bump into an actor, it's, oh, what have you been up to? And you're like, you have to immediately say how many auditions you've got, or all the work that you've done, or the meetings that you're having, as a way to sort of prove yourself. And I was like, but I also know that all my actor friends around me are working in pubs, working in theaters, working minimum wage jobs, trying to get by, like waiting for the phone to ring. But we never see that in the mainstream. So when I asked Katie if she wanted to come in with me and start a podcast shining a light on the realities of being an actor, we were struggling with the name. I thought of something along the lines of anything I've seen, as in, when you say to someone you're an actor and they go, oh, have you been in anything I've seen? And it's like, that encapsulates our message perfectly. It's like, no, you probably haven't seen me, but that doesn't mean that I'm not a valid actor. But then we came across this article by Casting Call Pro, which is now known as Mandy, which stated that only 2% of actors surveyed earned more than £10,000 a year from acting work. And when you think about it, that's like a minimum wage job, even less than that, right? So to us, that seemed like only 2% of actors earn their main source of income from acting. Everyone else is having to do other things to sort of support this journey. And so that's why we called ourselves the 98%, because we represent the 98% of actors not in full-time acting work. And we shine a light on everything that's to do with actors and being an actor, that isn't just, hello, Mr. Famous Person, you've done all of this amazing work, tell us about it. Because for every one actor on those, Graham Norton couches, there are 5,000 to 10,000 others who aren't having those experiences, but are just as valuable and make up the industry. Like the SAG-AFTRA strike was huge in sort of showing, we have these 2%, and within that we have the 0.0002% of like the A-listers, but all the day players, all the smaller roles, the guest stars, everything else that makes up this industry, that's all 98%ers, and we deserve a voice too. And I'm very privileged and honored to have now created this platform to give those people a voice.
Yeah, you very much have. And so one of my favorite episodes of yours was the roundtable, the agent roundtable you had with JBR and Mildred Ewan. And, both. Yeah. And who was the third one? Sorry.
Liz Pratt of
Liz
Nelson.
Pratt, yes, sorry, I forgot about her. Sorry, Liz. But it was a brilliant conversation. Two of them, JBR and Mildred, have also been on here. So shout out to the two of them. There was a really, really interesting chat about how, not only from the actor side, we can talk about how difficult it is, all the time, we're just keeping the faith and all that. But it really sort of opened my eyes to what agents go through as well. And something I've spoken to both of them about was that agents are human beings as well. And, and you're thinking to yourself, and one thing I've learned from like doing this podcast and doing my own agent emails is that they've got quite a few emails to get through every day. They are fighting, whether you're trying to get representation or you're trying to get in touch with them, there's always like they've got a lot on their plate as well. And, particularly in this weird time that we're going through now, post-COVID, post-SAG strike, it's a tough time for all of us. But ultimately, we will find a way through, I think.
Yeah, survive till 25, Liz said. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a huge takeaway from the 98%, because we don't just have actors on, we have people from all facets, all corners of the industry. And the biggest thing we took away, because one of our things is in the 98% is we don't talk about work. So lots of podcasts that feature creatives, it will say, oh, you worked on this show, tell us about it. We're about everything else. So we don't name credits, we don't name, the big budget projects that people have done. We're all about the people, the stories, the experiences behind that. And by focusing on that, we've come away and learned that even the tippity top casting directors, like everyone is just a human doing their job in the creative arts. And with this hierarchy that's in place in the industry, with 98% actors most oftentimes at the bottom, we look up to agents, casting directors, producers, writers, directors as these sort of like beacons of, they have everything and they're the keeper of the keys, but they're just people too. Like casting directors have to pitch for their jobs. Like actors, they go against different casting directors, they pitch their ideas, and then they're picked. During the strike, if things aren't being made, they aren't earning money. Agents, if their actors aren't working, they aren't earning money. Like we're all just people trying to do our thing. And I
Yeah.
think if we focus more on us all being humans first and then our creative job second, we can eliminate this power play that exists in a lot of places, and this idea that actors have to scramble and like prove themselves, instead of just, we're all in it, we're all trying to make it work, and let's all like view this realistically, that we're all in this together. We're not on this ladder where actors have to like strive to be seen by casting directors who have to strive to be seen by, like, we're all just creatives.
Yeah. Everyone's one all together, fighting for the same end. Yeah. And it just, one thing that you really sort of captured, you talk, like you mentioned there, you talked about not so much about work that you do, but process and how things work together, and how, some things that need to change. A big thing about what you talk, you really shine a light on things in the industry that needs to improve. And you've mentioned a few stories of like self-tape scams. You've talked about, I remember JBR talking about agent bullying for some clients. They've gone to meetings and they've confessed that the agent's not being very nice to them. You've talked about, and also I just want to mention someone who, Teresa Godley as well. She shared some things on social media recently, and you shared some of the things on Instagram as well. So a big shout out to her. Unfortunately, she had a bit of a really bad experience with a casting director who was being abusive and sending abusive messages and all that stuff. And she's exposed him, and we will sort of, kick that fucker out, because, that no one deserves to be spoken to like that.
Exposed him without naming him, but he's still trying to go after her for defamation, even though she's done nothing wrong. So it just
Yeah.
shows like the fear, yeah, I mean, that's a whole thing, but
Yeah, I don't quite know how that works. Yeah.
yeah, I like, we didn't, when we started the 98%, like we wanted to talk about things. So a lot in the earlier days, we talked about the yes or no campaign. We talked about the importance of casting directors, getting back to actors, especially if they're in the final two, if they've got to the final rounds of a West End show and they've done 8 rounds and they're in the final 3, and then they don't even get a call to say no thank you, like that's not on. So we started sort of talking about things like that. But as the years have gone on, yes, I most specifically, and Katie won't mind me saying this because in this past series, she's sort of had to take a back seat because of lots of other things that she's tackling in her own personal and professional life. But it started with me, with my experience at drama school, and helping Jake Cantor, who's a journalist at Deadline, put together a series of articles exposing the abuse at drama schools and how rife it is. And from there, yeah, like the dominoes have just fallen. And it's just because there's nowhere else people can go. Like even our union, people are reporting criminal malpractice, misconduct, abuse, exploitation, and they're being told that there's nothing that can be done because they aren't regulators. And my point is, okay, fair enough, but then maybe you can help put something in place that does regulate, because I'm an actor who 7 years ago decided to start a podcast, and now I'm like a source for an international publication, and I'm helping actors, unfortunately, realize that the only place that they can go to sort of get their story heard and see action taken is the press. And doing Instagram posts and Twitter threads and doing resources, and this is what you do if you experience misconduct, and this is why you shouldn't stand for fraud from your agent. Have you experienced fake self-tapes? This is what a con man looks like I've made all of these resources just because no one else is, and I'm not someone that can sit by and just go, oh well, it's not my problem. So yeah, the past, well, I'd say past year, but especially from February when the whole Bodhi Talent, Jamie Archie Pennell scandal broke. And if this is news to you, go check out the 98% on all the coverage I did on that. But he was this con artist that was an agent and has fleeced tens of thousands of pounds from actors and parents of child actors. And ever since then, the floodgates have opened, and it's really bad out there, guys. It's bad, the stuff that's going on. And I think people are thinking if we just ignore it, it will go away. But no, that just emboldens perpetrators because they know that nothing's going to happen. So I'm trying to take a step back, and I did an Instagram live the other day, sort of sharing to people, this is the advice I have if you find yourself in this position, because I'm just not in a place to be this one person that people can come to with really extreme experiences. And also, I'm sat in bed at night, awake, thinking about it, and then when there's nothing I can actually do, that then makes it worse. So I'm using my platform in the ways that I can to help, and to also raise the voices of people like Teresa, who has very bravely shared her experience.
Yeah.
Because the more we use our voice, the more we share things, even without naming people, just getting the experience out there and going, we don't stand for this. We're not going to sit in silence. When someone victimizes you, that's your story to tell. It's not their story that then they can try and clamber back because, oh, well, whatever justification or excuse that they have to try and worm their way out of it. They have chosen to act this way with you. So that's your story to tell now to help hopefully stop it happening to others. Just a couple of weeks ago, the most recent one was Ryan Kerwin, who was running a very successful showreel business, has now been exposed as a prolific, systematic cyber flasher, grooming, young actresses and sending them dick pics and harassing messages. And if it wasn't for these brave women coming forward and being in part of this Deadline article, he would still be working. But now, thanks to that, they've used aliases, they haven't had to waive that anonymity. His business has now been shut down, and we're waiting for police to make an arrest. Come on, what are you waiting for? So yeah, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. If this conversation to listeners is new, last year we did the 98% did a mini series on abuse in the arts called From Learning to Earning, a Story of Mistreatment in the Acting Industry. And we had Helen Raw on, who was a trailblazer, who had this infamous list of abusers, and she got no support. We got no support after our mini series. So I really think it's time now that we have to just start standing up and speaking about this and going, I'm not going to live in fear, because it's a myth. This idea of you'll ruin your career. Teresa's been asked by people, aren't you worried that your career is going to be ruined? And she's saying no, because first of all, the people who won't want to work with me because I've spoken out about abuse are the people that benefit from the silence.
Mm.
So I don't want to work with them anyway. B, speaking out about things draws people to me who are the right kind of people that I want to work with. Like the people I've been connected to now after speaking about this, like after working through my own fear of talking about my own experiences and that of others, I've now been connected to people who I like have always looked up to in this industry, who are now in my DMs, like really supporting me. And now I have a connection in this industry. And obviously that's not why I'm doing it, but I'm trying to say that like this whole your career will be ruined if you speak out is not true, because the people that peddle that myth are the people that benefit from the fear that that idea creates.
Mm.
You know, you are this teller of your own story, and anyone that's going to stop you from working because you're speaking out about something is someone that I would question, what they've been up to behind closed doors, frankly. But there we
Yeah,
go.
yeah. No. It's very well put. There's, and actually having discovered your show made me aware of stuff going on. And I was, obviously you hear about the Me Too movement and stuff, and idiots and evil bastards like Harvey Weinstein and stuff like that. And there's a film, did you watch the film She Said with Carey Mulligan?
No, because I engage with this so much personally that then watching things, I try and switch off as much as
Okay.
possible. I'm sure it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's very good. It's basically she plays this journalist who led the team to
Yes.
exposing Weinstein, and it's a very good watch. It's a very good watch. There was some suspicions that one of the producers on there wasn't entirely innocent, but that I think Chloe Wade
And you
talked
know
about
what?
that. But
That doesn't surprise me at all. Like these
yeah,
people are everywhere. Like there are famous people out there, even like Philip Schofield, Hugh Edwards, like, yes, they're news broadcasters and stuff, but
yeah,
I'm like people of that level in our industry, like, people like Helen and other like people do talk. And I think, you know, whispers go around, but the reason I also want to talk about it is, as you said, you've now been introduced to these things, so that if people do find themselves in a rehearsal room or on set and they're being spoken to in a way that's not acceptable, or someone's making them feel a certain way, I want them to feel emboldened to nip that in the bud and be like, no, I don't stand for that treatment. And also what we do in the podcast is we reevaluate what success means, and being person-centered. And I said this on my Instagram live of like, okay, so you want to keep quiet about anything that you've gone through because you really want to work in a West End show. Okay, what if you get to a West End show and the producer isn't paying you properly, or the musical director is sexually harassing you, or a cast member is bullying you, or the director is taking drugs before rehearsals? Like, that's not just something that you then go, oh, but I'm doing my dream job, so I should just shut up and take it. Like, these people are acting this way so emboldened because they count on people's silence. And
yeah,
I really hope the tides are changing now, where we can see how strong we are together of, speaking out against this, and also supporting the people who are speaking out against it. Because also, like, let's talk about the whole IAM fake tapes thing, which is another Deadline article. Again, I did an episode about that. You can go listen to that. That agency is still running, and they can say all that they want, that they don't engage in fake tapes anymore. And I'm sure that they don't, and I hope that they don't.
mm,
But I fear that actors have stayed with them because they're quite a prolific, successful agency. But then I don't want actors. I don't want, there are casting directors that now won't work with that agency. And those actors are now suffering without realizing, because of this person's actions, but because they are perhaps too scared to leave or to try and find another agent. And it's like, we can't just keep turning our head and ignoring things and thinking it will blow over, because you don't know what other people, good people in this industry, who they might not want to work with, or who they do want to work, etc., etc. So I just want actors to be bold in themselves and empowered enough to go, is this right for me? No. Well, then I'm not going to put up with it, or I'm not going to, just ignore it. because the more that we just give to this industry of like, I'll do anything, I'll shut my mouth, I'll keep quiet, I'll sit still, look pretty, like I'll do anything that you need me to be because I'm so desperate to work. That's what enables these perpetrators. And the more that actors start taking back their power, the more that we can find work that aligns with our best self and help put an end to these people that are taking advantage of their position.
Yeah, no, spot on, absolutely spot on. You know, I mean, I was reminding of, I was thinking about our conversation today, and it reminds me of a time I had a bit of a lucky escape from something. It wasn't anything like too dangerous or anything, but I remember going along to this modeling agency. Well, I say modeling agency in inverted commas.
Oh, we've all been there.
Yeah, yeah. It was nothing filthy or anything like that. But luckily, so the story was I found this company and they said they were looking for some people. I sent them a couple of my email address and a few previous headshots I had, and they said, "Yeah, cool, we'd love to sign you up to the agency." And I thought, great. And funny enough, it all seemed to be aligning. I had some headshots done the day before, so I thought, okay, right, so this must be a thing. Stars aligning and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't, thankfully. But I go along to this thing, and the second I walk in, it's not. I'm not meeting in a studio. I'm not meeting in a fancy office. I'm going along to a little office room in a building owned by a bank or something, and
Oh,
I'm thinking, wait, this doesn't feel right. My gut was telling me something was wrong. Anyway, I get up to the office, and basically the girl said to me, like, "Well, yeah, we'll do this for you." She got me out this big folder full of of pictures and places where they would film and shoot you. So they said, "We'll fly you out to Italy, we'll fly you out to Austria, we'll take you to Russia, we'll do all this stuff." And me at the time, how old was I? I was probably so that was 2000. Oh God, how old was I? Yeah, anyway, so like mid-20s, thinking no experience of this industry whatsoever, and I'm sort of there in my freaking hell. I got suited and booted for everything. I thought, right, this is my moment, and I go along, and the girl was asking for like £200 just to sign up for this thing, and as luck would have it, my headshots hadn't been developed yet. I simply still had the photographer's copyright all over all the images, and she said, "Oh, okay, we can't take you on today. We need the pictures. So if you get your pictures and then come back, then we can sign you up." So, and then the meeting ended and I left the office and I got home and it wasn't for my mum actually. She said, "Well, what was the name of this agency?" It's like London Modeling Agency or something like that. And she looked it up, and then suddenly all these reviews came up: scam, scam, scam. Don't go, don't go, don't go. My kids. You mentioned earlier about some kids signing up for stuff, and all their money gets taken away. You
that's
said, yeah,
right.
yeah,
Right. Children modeling and stuff. Yeah. Because the
yeah,
parents are so desperate, they'll do anything.
yeah. And if it wasn't for not having, so a mistake of not having my headshots actually turned out to be the right thing to do. And it was a saving grace and a bit of like, whoa, okay. And then you read other stories about people going along for stuff and they're getting scammed out of thousands and thousands of pounds because they promised them the stars and everything, and they go, okay, so just give us some money. And that's also a bad sign. If an agency or anyone says to you, "We'll make you famous, we'll put you on our books, just give us this amount of money, no matter how much it is, and we'll make it happen,"
Yeah.
don't
If
do it.
there's any caveats of you need to pay this, you need to get headshots with our headshot thing, you need to like anything. I mean, this is the thing is things stories like that are everywhere, and I feel like people would somewhat expect that. Oh, that they prey on people new to the industry, people who have no experience, no training, no credits, and they give these big promises. And that's kind of people sort of expect that in a way, but what people don't expect is like Therese's experience. A prolific top UK casting director, is what she's saying, is sending these abhorrent abusive messages to her at 6 a.m. And then threatening her. And with Weinstein, if that's happening at the 0.00.2 2% of actors. What do you think is happening with the 98%, the people you don't know about, at every level, you know, your experience and onwards into actual professionals? You know, this showreel guy that was exposed because one of his victims was actually a woman in her 30s. So she's, you know, been around the block, she's been in this industry, and she was like, hang on, this isn't right. And he's been doing this for years and years and years with all manner of people. So yeah, it's everywhere, and it's shocking. So yeah, we need to be talking about things like this, raising red flags, making other people aware, because people will prey on your desperation for work. And you know, if you are someone like a casting director or a producer or someone with this perceived power to change your life in this industry, they know that they can hold that over you. But also, I'd say that if someone is promising all these, I'm going to make you, because this was a Bodhi thing as well, I'll do this for you, you're going to do this, I'm going to set that up, I would say that that's something to be wary of, because what we know that there's no guarantees in this industry. We know how hard it is. So what is their ulterior motive to promising you these things and saying everything that you want to hear? Because now I'm in the position where I really know myself as a person and an actor and a creative. You know, I had someone message me recently, I've got a feature film, I really love your work and I want you to play the lead role in it. Can we have a Zoom? 10 years ago, I would have been on Zoom in a heartbeat. I would have been given everything, like, let's talk about it. But this time I went, I'm CCing in my agent. If you have a script, please send it along. So I was like, if he's working a feature film and he wants my time and he wants my expertise, well, then I want to know what I'm getting myself into.
Yeah.
And he never replied to my agent, never had any follow-up. And then a few weeks later, he emailed me again. He found a different email of mine. I'm not sure if he hoped that I'd forget, but like saying the same sort of thing. And again, if this was years ago, I would have gone, oh my God, someone wants me. Oh my God, they want me to be in their feature film. But now I'm like, but what am I getting out of this? Because right now you're asking for my time to have a Zoom, but you're not giving me anything. So, you know, the more we come into ourselves as creatives and have confidence and find the validation from within, like Sophie Holland, when she was on the 98%, she said, if you go looking for validation from the industry, you're never going to find it. So once you find it from within, you have a more level head on your shoulders to look at things and go, okay, so this person is is asking me to do this for them because they've said that in return they'll help with my career, or they'll help me find a new agent, or they'll get me audition for this. But that's all maybes. Like, there's no guarantee for that. You can't tell me that you're going to get an agent to sign me or that I'm going to get a job, because that's not how it works. So you're asking this from me for a maybe what if. And I think as actors, we live in this, we have to be somewhat delusional of like, tomorrow the phone's going to ring and our whole life is going to change. And that's totally fine to feel that way. But when it comes to these things of, I want this from you, or, you know, let's be pally on WhatsApp, you know, this is something I'm learning from a lot of these perpetrators, is they then move it onto a more personal setting so that your ego is stroked and you feel like this industry professional really values you. And if you just keep, you know, giving them what they want, whatever that might be, breadcrumbs along the way, that it's going to come out, you're going to come out on top because you're going to get something from them. I would question what it is they're getting from you and what you're actually getting from it. That isn't just a, maybe this will work out okay for me in the end.
Yeah, and I think
segue a tangent there. I can't even remember what we were talking about.
No, keep it coming. It's great. Now, and I think also one thing I've learned recently is that if you look for success, that quote there, like when you said about Sophie, if you look for validation from this business, you simply won't get it. And there's a lady who said something recently. I can't remember her name, but she is one of those, you know, on Instagram, you get those motivational videos that pop up on your timeline every now and then. And she said something like, if you look for reasons why you are not worthy in this world, you will always find them. So don't do that. You know, if you're constantly comparing yourself or thinking that success will equal happiness, or like, oh, you don't look as good as them lot, or you think, oh, they've got something that I don't. Well, it's like, what, whatever it is, you'll always find something to complain about. You always will. So in other words, it's like you said just now, you have to go in and say, look, you have to be your own best friend. You have to be the person who sticks up for themselves. And one thing I wanted to say was that, and I've fallen into this trap myself, and thankfully I'm coming out of it now, is that I thought, you look at all these guys who've made it, they're hugely successful, therefore they are happy. They've got the best life. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Some of the
And
most,
I was just going to say this, talking about what you just said about success,
yeah.
because I now have Acting with Alexa, which is a coaching consultancy and
Oh,
resource
yes, yes, you do. I forgot about
services
that.
and business for actors. And my whole ethos is unlearning what we think success is, and redefining what success is. Because exactly that, if you think I just have to keep going until I've worked on 3 West End shows, been on the BBC, and done a feature film that's played in cinemas, again, if something happens or it's not a good experience, or more realistically, you have a great time, but then you're back at your pay the bills job 2 days later,
Mm,
you're this was my experience anyway, being on the red carpet at the BAFTAs thinking, this is it, the doors are open, my life is going to change. I didn't work again for another 3 years, of going, but that was supposed to be it. What do you
mm,
mean? Like, I'm supposed to be happy and successful now, and that's not actually the case. So it's more like, I practice gratitude and I talk about that a lot, and I say that it's most important to practice gratitude at the times where you're feeling the least grateful. For example, I recently auditioned for 3 lead roles in films and I didn't hear back from any of them, and I started on this spiral that you get once in a while of just, oh my God, why isn't this working? Like, they can't
yeah,
even
yeah,
thanks, but no thanks. And I went to the beach and I did a gratitude meditation, and I came out feeling so much better because I was grateful for the opportunity. I was grateful for my ability to learn lines fast. I was grateful for having a really good friend who's a great reader who helped me with my tapes. I'm grateful to have an agent that believes in me. I'm grateful to have a casting director that returns to me, again and again, asking me to audition because clearly I'm doing the right things. I'm grateful to live somewhere where I wake up every day and I feel happy to live here. I'm grateful that I also get the chance to still chase my dreams. And it's similar to that, of when you're at the time when you're not working and you're wanting so badly to be in this job that you think is going to make you happy. Those are the most important times to look around and actually try and be really, really happy with where you are right now, because then when you get the job, the pressure's going to be off and you're going to enjoy it for all the right reasons, and not going, oh my God, well, I've got this job now, so now the pressure's on and I have to impress and I have to do this and I have to make the most of it. And oh my God, it's going to end in 3 weeks. And oh my God, that's going to be so, like, you see, it just adds the pressure on, so that when you actually get that experience, it
yeah.
doesn't tick all the boxes you want, because you're so, caught up in how this has to be it. This has to be the thing that changes everything. There's no guarantee that anything will change anything at any point. So you have to go in feeling confident in yourself as much when you are out of work as when you are in work.
Mm. Yeah, again, very well put. Yeah, it's just being thankful. I think, was it yourself who, do you have like a gratitude diary or something that you write in?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's one of my
Yeah.
Acting with Alexa points, is so a list of wins I do. So I write down my wins every time, something that I consider a win, and that can be anything from getting an audition or getting a response to an email, to having a really nice bike ride or learning a monologue just for fun. And when you keep these lists of wins of things within your control that you're doing, you're reminded that being an actor is so much more than just booking a job and then turning up to set. And yes, gratitude as well. I recommend, if practicing gratitude is new to you, writing down 3 things a day, starting really small. I'm grateful for the sunshine. I'm grateful for good food. I'm grateful for ice cream, like things like that, because it's the opposite of what you were saying, of when you start to notice, what you're lacking or what you don't have in comparison to others, you start seeing it more. Gratitude is the opposite. The more you practice gratitude, the more you start to see things to be grateful for. And this is coming from me, who used to be so anti woo woo, couldn't meditate, couldn't do it. And now I'm on the flip side of going, the more I notice things I'm grateful for, the easier it is to feel positive about things, because there's always something to be grateful for, even when things don't pan out the way that you want them to.
Yeah, I think True Geordie talks about that. Have you ever listened to True Geordie?
Oh.
He's one of the big podcasters over here. He's got some fantastic stuff. He's got guests from, it's just like a different profession every week. One minute it's a gangster, next like it's a bank person who's made loads of money. Anyway, he's got fantastic stuff. He talked about in one episode about how if some people reach rock bottom, even there you just sort of think, but I'm still alive. I've still got my health. I've still got people around me who love me, whether they're here or in spirit. There are people who love me. You know, there's always, like you said, there's always something to be thankful for. And even in those moments where you think, God, could this get any worse? But actually, don't think about how things could work or might pan out. Um, you know, just think about what's good about things right now. And
Universe, show me how it gets better. Instead
yeah,
of going, throw me a bone, why is nothing working? Put it
yeah,
out and go, show me how it gets better. Because then your brain is tricked. This is what I do with my list of wins. The more you write down things that you're proud of yourself for, the more your brain wants to write things down. So it will look for the positive in things that you wouldn't see before, because you want to notice them more. And it makes your time it makes you a better actor, and it makes your time in acting work even better. Like last year when I filmed Lost in Time, and that was my second lead role in a feature film, I knew going into it that 4 weeks later I would be back at my restaurant job.
mm,
So I went in there, and instead of going, oh, in 4 weeks I'm going to be back, like, oh, I went in, I enjoyed every moment. I was, having the best time. I was confident in myself. Like, through the years, I've now taken acting for screen classes so that I really feel that I'm at the top of my game. So that when I was back at my restaurant job working part-time, the weeks after finishing, I was like, this doesn't make me less of an actor, because this is what being an actor is. No, I'm
absolutely.
not a series regular in a Hollywood TV series getting flown out, by Apple to go on SNL or whatever. But this is what a 98% actor does, and this is what I'm doing. So I'm not going to feel any negativity about that. Like, I've started to say to people now, I used to think, oh, I'm an actor, but I work as a waitress. And now I'm like, I'm an actor because I work as a waitress, because most of us are. That makes me just as much as an actor as going to drama school, in my opinion, because we've only ever seen the spotlight shone on the 2%. And now that we've shone the spotlight on the 98%, it takes the pressure off of going, oh, I'm actually doing fine. And this is what most of us are going through.
Mm,
And instead of thinking I just have to do this so that I can make it, with acting with Alexa, I say there is no making it. Making it, if someone looks at my CV, they could look at that and go, she's made it. I wish I had that. Like, I would be so happy if I was Alexa. If I've done the work that she's done, like, I would feel good about myself. But then here I am talking about, my bouts of depression and how frustrating it is and how I've gone years without acting work. Like,
mm,
there's never an end goal that's going to make you happy. And there shouldn't be, because I also have friends that you would class as famous who are in constant work, who are almost A-listers, I'd say, and they themselves, like, the goalposts have changed. There's
mm.
some work that they don't really want to be doing, or that they would rather be doing, and it's easy for me to look at that and go, all right, like, why can't you just be happy with what you got? Because everyone, I would kill to have that. It's like, it's fine to always, be looking for more and want to improve, as long as we are taking stock of what we do have and being grateful for it and learning from it, and just taking it in every moment of it, instead of just viewing it as something that will get me to the next point that will actually make me happy and actually make me feel fulfilled, because you will never find that if you're constantly looking for where that might be.
Yeah, and I remember speaking to someone who said even like the top people, you know, like the actors up to like off the top of my head, like Kerry Mulligan's or the Bill Nighy's or something like that, even they have doubts about maybe where the next job is coming from as well. So everyone is in the same boat, whether you've been in The Great Gatsby or you've done the Boat That Rocked or Love Actually or whatever. Yeah, you've got some great stuff behind you, but it's all about the next job. It's all about just keep working and keep working and keep working. Yeah, some people have the luxury of knowing, yes, when I finish this job, I'm then going to Vancouver to film with I don't know, what's the director's name top here? Ridley Scott or something like that. You know, some people do have that luxury, but that's not to say that after that, will they have that luxury again? You know, it's always, and yeah, like you said there, it's always about being grateful for stuff all the time and being, know that it's like life is a journey. This is a transitory experience for all of us. So just enjoy the uncertainty and just enjoy everything that all that's part of it. I know that's easier said than done, but
It is,
ultimately,
but that's my ethos with acting with Alexa, and that's why I love working with other actors. I said to one client in a session, and she was feeling frustrated with, you know, the lack of what she thought work that she would be getting, and what can she should do this class to get this, and people have graduated from this summer school, so she should do that so that she can get that work. And I said, hang on. If I were to tell you that for the next 3 years, you will be in the same position you are now with a bit of voiceover work here and there, auditioning, taking classes and workshops, but no real solid ongoing acting work, how would that make you feel? And like her face dropped. And I was like, now, obviously, we hope that that's not going to happen. But if it does, you deserve to be happy waking up every morning and feeling fulfilled and feeling successful. So let's work on why you're doing things. You shouldn't be doing a class or a workshop in hopes that the casting director might remember you for future things. You should be doing a class or a workshop to work on your craft, to build a community, to meet fellow creatives, to learn something new, to get a piece of footage for your spotlight or your show reel, to work on a new technique like screen acting technique, to work on a new workshop, to meet a casting director, to hear about their experience, to ask them a question. Whether they remember you or not further down the line for an audition is a bonus, but we can't be doing things in hopes that it will then lead to this job that we think is going to solve all of our problems. Being an actor and being an actor in the 98% is building a home studio for your voiceover work, taking a class, learning a new accent, working on your musician skills, taking a dance class, doing a self-tape challenge, getting friends together and doing a play reading,
starting a
writing
podcast.
show. Yeah, like learning stand-up. That is just as much being an actor as being number one on the call sheet or, you know, taking a bow in a West End stage.
Yeah, there's always something to do. It doesn't have to be in work, but there's always stuff to do. You mentioned one earlier about, I want to just get this story in quickly about you were there on the red carpet from the BAFTAs, you know, this, you know, your pictures being picked up by Getty. For anyone who doesn't know, it's like a really popular photograph chain over here. Basically all exclusively for actors, like on the BAFTAs, like the Oscars, etc. So it's a good thing to be part of. But you were on the red carpet, you think, right, here we go, all the doors opening, and then there was no work that came your way for the next 3 years. So my question is, we're talking about being grateful for stuff. What would you say were some of the positive things that you learned in those 3 years following what you thought was the moment where it was all going to change?
I mean, not much, honestly, because this was me back in my pre-podcast. I was in that vicious cycle of everything that I've just been talking about not doing, of going, you know, working 3 jobs just to wait for the phone to ring for an audition, and then every audition being the one thing that could change my life, and then it doesn't, and then I spend 2 weeks crying and depressed, and you know, everything is unfair, and comparing myself to others. And if you asked me what I did during those 3 years, I couldn't even tell you. Like,
Mm.
it wasn't a waste of 3 years. But nowadays, if you ask me what I've done in the past 2 weeks, I could list off things that in my life that I'm grateful that I did, and experience I had, and memories I made. But at that time, I was just a cog in my own machine of like, but I was at the BAFTAs. I have to work. If I don't work now, that means that I'm not good enough. That means that I'm not valuable. That means that I'm not valid. Like, everything has been a waste. And it was just that perpetually. And Then when I did get a job, it was The Colour of Spring, which was a dream role. It was a lead role in a feature film. I was flown out to Halifax, Nova Scotia, on the eastern side of Canada. I filmed for 3.5 weeks non-stop. I was put up in an Airbnb. I worked with Jamie Moscato, who's an incredibly talented, he's done a lot of musical theatre work, so those in that world will know him, but he's crossed over to screen as well. And we had a great time filming. I worked with other amazing people. I made friends with the crew. At the end of filming, we had 3 more days before I was flying back, and I said to the crew, who wants to shoot a short? And so we got a micro crew together. We wrote this short film. We filmed it in one day, and now I'm helping produce it. And it's been years in the making now, but now it's going to film festivals. And then that all went amazing. And then just as it was going to film festivals and I was getting all these nominations, and the director said to me, like, I'm going to fly you out to these film festivals so that you can go to the red carpets, you can collect your awards, you can watch the films. And COVID hit. And everything went online. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't soak up any of this experience. And again, it was like that whole BAFTA thing again, is I worked myself up to this point where I think it's going to change and I think all these things are going to happen. And then COVID comes and fucks it all up. And so in answer to your question of what have you learned, is sort of what I've said now, and sort of the birth of the 98% and acting with Alexa, is nothing is guaranteed. And that's why I hate these ideas of acting coaches going, if you just pay for this course, or if you just buy this self-tape setup, then you'll book a role, then you'll be on the path to success. I'm sorry, but I'm here to tell you, no, there is no guarantee. There's no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow if you just cross these T's and dot these I's. There is no guarantee. So what can we do in our life as an actor to take these hurdles on and to wake up every day feeling confident and inspired, not knowing what's around the corner, and enjoying acting work for what it is and not just what we think it could be for the next thing to finally make it, whatever that means. I look back and I've learned that nothing is guaranteed. You aren't entitled to anything. People always look at me and they're like, I'm so impressed by how resilient you are. And I want it so bad. Like, the start of this podcast, I said I've wanted it since I was 3 years old. If this industry rewarded people who wanted it the most and worked the hardest and got back on the horse every time that they were knocked down, and they were the most resilient and they were the most hardworking and they made the right connections, I would be Carey Mulligan. But that's not how the industry works. So, yeah, it was a shock to the system, but going back to the BAFTA thing, that was when I started the podcast. It was a few months after that. I'd come over to Vancouver to sort of spend 6 months here to see how I liked it. I signed with one of the best agents in the city, who I'm still with now. I love her. I was auditioning for things that I wouldn't dream of auditioning for in London, because lots of stuff is filmed here. So like The Last of Us is filmed here. And for season 1, I auditioned for it 3 times. Like, I couldn't have dreamed of auditioning for that in London. But then not getting anything and going, why is nobody talking about how much bullshit there is and how hard this is? And so I thought, well, no one else is talking about it, so I'll do it myself. So the main thing that came out of that time, in answer to your question, finally, of being at the BAFTAs and it not opening the doors, I thought, was the birth of the 98%, which in turn has completely transformed me as a person and how I view my time in this industry. And I still want it just as much, and I still work just as hard, but I am not giving everything to this industry that doesn't give much back. Like, this industry is like a bad boyfriend. He won't call you back. He won't give you validation when you're feeling low. He won't buy you the gift that you want just because you really deserve it. So how can you spend your time in this industry without being codependent, first of all, with a business that doesn't really, see you as an individual? You're just an actor like the thousands of others. And how do you enjoy your life, working in this industry and chasing your dreams, and it's still being your dreams, but also looking at things realistically and what's actually available to you and what you can actually put yourself forward for in a way that you're confident and empowered and having a good time.
Mm. Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I think because we've talked about a lot of quite heavy stuff today, and of course it's perfectly valid and it's absolutely true, that this thing is it's not easy. It's very hard, and but also I think I mentioned I think the last podcast episode I did about Lucian Masmati actually and talked about reviews and stuff. But one thing over the lockdown, he did one of these coffee mornings for the company, which sadly is now disbanded. It was called the Monobox, and he talked about how. But it was basically just a morning where we all got on Zoom and just chatted about stuff, and he was being asked questions about stuff. And one thing he said was to anyone who's sort of starting out or wherever you are in your career, it's going to be okay. It's a long game, it's a tough game, but ultimately you will be okay. And one thing that he said that still sticks with me, and I'm not sure if I've mentioned this on a previous episode or nothing, but one thing he said was, fuck these tyrannical ideas about time and when you become like known or when you get consistent work. It doesn't matter whether it's early, in the middle, or towards the end. The important thing is that it happened. But in the meantime, just like focus on what makes you happy. And but the biggest thing is fuck these ideas about time, that you have to achieve something at a certain point in order to have a good career, because yeah, we don't know what's going to happen in the next hour. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But, ultimately just know that things are working in your favor. And I'm a big universe believer. You put it out there and, yeah, the law of attraction. Yes, thank you. I believe that if you practice, like you say, practice being grateful, you do good things, you do good to others, you put out good things and take care of yourself, most importantly, then good things will happen to you, and the rewards will happen. And what's funny is that it's like the universe goes, there will be rewards if you keep doing these things, but when are they? I'm not going to tell you, because they're rewards. They're going to be a surprise. Yeah, just
And
trust.
also, on the flip side, when you saying everything will be okay if you decide to leave this industry as well. Like some of my favorite episodes of the 98% have been with former actors who I think we're all actors at heart. Like if you come into this industry, we'll always be actors because we always love to play and use our imagination and tell stories. But for those who've decided to leave the industry, because no former actor I've met decided to leave the industry because they fell out of love with acting. It's always been because of the business side, like the hashtag actor's life and it not being what we hoped it was.
100%.
And for those very brave people who decide to step away because it's not serving them anymore and to find happiness, what I love about what we've done with the 98% is those episodes. It is, instead of it being this, if I don't make it when I'm 30, then I have to quit and I'm a failure and I haven't made it. We've turned that on its head and gone, you're actually less of a failure because you're not letting the industry walk all over you anymore. You've decided to take stock of what you want from your life and you've gone out and you found it in different forms, and knowing that everything will be, and also that circumstances change. Like my dad used to say to me, and a lot of my work with acting with Alexa is inspired by my dad, who's a psychologist. So it's a lot of like, control the controllables, positive mental framework, resilience. And he used to say to me when I was younger, just get to 30 and then we'll reevaluate. Don't let anything get too heavy on you. Like don't get too upset. Don't feel like a failure. Just keep on going until you're 30. Now, obviously, when you're in your 20s, 30 feels old until you get to 30 and you're like, oh, this isn't old at all. So I always had in my mind, okay, just get to 30 and then we can reevaluate. So I got to 30 and I reevaluated. And I used to think if I haven't made it by then, well, then that's it. Like there's no hope. Instead, I'm now living in a new city. I'm in a new industry. I now am 33. I've just joined the union here, which is very difficult to join. It's not like equity. Like you have to really go through the ringer to like it be join the union. And then now that I'm in the union, I'm getting considered for roles you wouldn't be as a non-union. So the circumstances have completely changed. And while for me, it feels like I've been auditioning in Vancouver for 7 years and haven't really got to where I wanted to go, a friend of mine was saying, but now it's like a fresh slate because you're in the union now. So the circumstances are different. So what you were saying about time is so spot on, because the work I've done since my premonition of like everything I've been preaching, I'm so glad that like Lost in Time that I filmed last year and not 6 years ago when I was desperate for validation and, you know, disempowered and just desperate for any morsel of like creative fulfillment. You know, things happen at a time, I feel, that are right for you. And even if you don't believe that, for example, I'll audition for things and I'll go, this is perfect for me and I would enjoy this so much, and then I don't get it. It's a lot nicer life to lead, believing that the universe has what's in store for you, what's right for you, than it is not believing that, if that makes sense. So you can not buy into the woo-woo stuff, and that's totally fine. But it's a lot nicer place to live, to just trust that the right stuff is going to come to you, than waking up every day and going, why not me? Why them? Why can't I? Why are they? Like, it's just not helpful to you.
Yeah, I've been that person as well, and I will admit, yeah, it didn't serve me, didn't help me in any way. But you know, you go through that and you realize, okay, right, I'm not doing that again. That's not a good mentality to have. But you know, yeah, it's just important to know that we just keep at it, and above all else, if something's not making you happy or it's costing you too much of your mental health, then it's too expensive, you know, and you know whatever it is, whether it's even for us in the acting world or indeed in any other business as well. You know, I know people who've got these huge jobs, or you read these stories about getting these massive jobs, like earning six-figure sums each year, but they're not happy. And you think, well, why are you not happy? You've got a mansion in London, you've got a six-figure sum with bonuses every year. You've got, you know, you've got a lovely family, you've got like all these amazing friends. Is it, yeah, but how come you're not happy? It's just, I think a lot of the time they go, well, because I have to do this, because I have to make money, I have to do this societal checklist to say I
Yes, and
am.
this could lead me on a whole tangent about the business versus the creative arts, because what comes to mind
Yeah,
when you talk about that is like these big Marvel things, right? I just watched this video of Jennifer Garner and how she's been training with like her swords and her daggers and like how freaking cool that looks. And I was like, oh my God, I would give anything to be paid to like train in a gym and do stage combat and like fight scenes and then get on set. But then you look at these actors and they say they turn up to these huge studios with the green screen. They don't even have anything to act across. It's all money, money, money. How do we make so much money? And it's easy for us when we buy into this idea that if I just get here, then everything will be okay. And I've made it and I'm successful and I'm fulfilled and I'm happy and I'm valid. Whereas when we unlearn that, I actually understand why Ian McKellen, for example, hated doing The Hobbit, because
yeah. I was going to
not
mention that. Yeah,
actually acting, it's like the green screen stuff. So actually taking the rose tinted glasses off, we can now reimagine that, okay, yeah, we'd love to be on a Marvel thing being paid $8 million or whatever it is Robert Downey Jr. is getting paid, but actually being paid a couple £1,000 to lead an independent feature film and be part of the collaborative process and make suggestions on scene edits or script changes and, you know, hanging out with the crew at lunch. Like, oh my God, that feels like such a more fulfilling experience, so that when those experiences come to me, it's not just seen as a stepping stone for what better work could come afterwards. It's an experience in itself that we should be holding on to and enjoying.
yeah, exactly. You got some very, very good advice, Alexa, I have to say. Uh, yeah, brilliant stuff. I know we're slightly pressed for time, so I've only just got a few more questions left for you today. So,
It's a good chat.
yeah. So the first one is, you know, you mentioned acting with Alexa as well, and you know how you speak to people about, you know, keeping the motivation up, and obviously, you know, obviously, be happy, look after yourself, etc. And all those are very important. I didn't mean to sound dismissive there. But out of all the things that you talk to your clients and your students, or about practicing being grateful, or they all the concerns that they bring to you, what would you say was like some of the common themes that you say to them, sort of in mesh well? I know we've talked about grateful, a gratuity list, keeping the faith, believe what the universe has in store for you. But was there anything else that we have really haven't touched on?
Just for those who are new, so I have consultancy, which is sort of career consultancy, where you can come to me with anything. Like, are you writing to agents? Do you need help writing to casting directors? Do you need advice on what showreel scenes to pick? Are you just feeling really down and you need to talk to someone who really gets it, that isn't going to be this toxic, positive sort of, just do this, this, and this? And then I do acting coaching. So a lot of self-tape coaching, sides analysis, screen acting technique. And then I lead seminars and stuff and have online resources. But in terms of the consultancies, a lot of the times I start with going through Actors Spotlight. So we talk about how we can utilize that to the best advantage of actors. I like using the About Me section to get across who you are as a creative, but also as a person. And then from there, I talk to actors sort of about their goals, and I split it into three things. So what are your big dream goals? Maybe that's, I want to be in a BBC comedy series. Okay, that goal is fine to have, but that is completely out of your control. So what are the performance goals to get to there? Okay, well, you need to be auditioning. You need to be confident in your screen acting. You perhaps want to have an agent that has connections with the BBC. Okay, so then what are your process goals? What can you be doing to get to those performance goals to then heighten your chances to get to your outcome goal? So then I talk about the process goals within the realms of reality for that person. So for example, I would love to be a series regular in a television series, whether that's back in the UK or here in North America. But this year, I've been auditioning for a lot of Hallmark movies. I was shortlisted for like 5 Hallmark Christmas movies. So while I would love to be a series regular, if I'm only really auditioning for a lot of Hallmark, well, then let's shift my goals to booking a Hallmark thing. It pays very well. So then I want to use that money to fund the films that I'm writing. I'm co-writing 2 feature films. I have a short film that I've written, another short film that I've co-written. So it's sort of about looking at the things within our realms of possibility. Like if you're getting a lot of voiceover work, but really you want to be doing more TV and film, but the voice world is giving you a yes, let's reevaluate, why are you not viewing that as really valid, fulfilling work? How can we perhaps be using your experience in the voice world to transition into TV? Is there someone at BBC Radio that you can get in with that could then connect you to someone else? So I feel like actors are thrust into this industry and it's like, these are the goals you have, and if you just do X, Y, and Z and do all these casting directors workshops and write all these letters, that emails, that something will come to you eventually. Okay, but what if it doesn't? What can we control so that you can wake up feeling revitalized? And a lot of the feedback from people is that what I speak to them about is very simple, but it feels more within the realms of possibility, not just, well, I really want to do this, so I guess I'll just fumble about and do whatever I can in hopes of getting there. Instead, looking at your career, or if you're a fresh graduate and you have a very blank slate, how can we use being a graduate to your advantage? Like, what are the seeds that you can be sowing now to be able to smell the flowers 5 years from now? Because it is a long game. Another common denominator I talk about is how the relationships you build in this industry will be one of the most important things. Like this filmmaker director who I'm co-writing a feature film with now, I met him years and years and years ago through like the 48-hour film festival things. And then I kept in touch with him and he ended up editing my short film Hers, which I wrote and produced and acted in. And we've kept in touch over the years. And now he's asked me to co-write this thing. Like, that's 6, 7, 8 years in the making, but
Mm.
who knows now what could happen. He's got a producer on board. Maybe we can get this and I can star in this film that I'm writing with. So I help actors feel like things are actually within their control instead of just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. And my main ethos and aim, is what I say in sort of my blurbs, is I want to, inject the fun and empowerment and confidence back into the craft and career of actors, so that when you get an audition or a self-tape, it's not,
Yeah.
oh my God, I have to do this, I have to tick these boxes. Let's just do a good acting scene. Like, let's have fun with it. Let's go back to why you want to be an actor in the first place. If this audition is your first chance to act in 4 months, well, let's have fun with it, because if you're having fun, the viewer's going to have fun. And the first 2 self-tape coaching sessions I had with Acting with Alexa, the actors booked it. And I do believe it's because they went into it going, this is my take on this character. I'm not trying to impress. I'm not trying to be an idea of what I think the casting director wants to be. This is me. This is my interpretation. I'm going to have a hell of a lot of fun doing it. I'm going to lean into my comedy chops. And they booked it. And it's because I think it was just so much fun to do. So yeah, that's a long answer to that question.
No, it's a very good one. Yeah, just don't try and like impersonate other people, other people's interpretations of their interpretations as yours. Been caught in that trap many times of I've got to do this like this person. It's like, no, do it as Ollie, do it as
Yeah.
you. And it's like, yeah,
I
but
say, like,
yeah,
let's look at Sex Education, a stellar cast, right? Let's
yeah,
look at, who played God, now I can't remember his name. Who played Otis.
yeah.
There will be 10 other actors that audition for that role that would have played a really good Otis. And the casting director would have loved all of those takes. For whatever reason, that actor booked it. But that doesn't mean that everyone else did a bad read or a wrong read. So, it's not about trying, oh, well, this is what got the role, so this is how I should perform the speech from Sex Education for this monologue slam. No, do it how you would do it, because
Mm,
the reason that he booked that role will be the reason that you book another role, because it's what you bring to it.
mm. I think a great example is actually in Sex Education is I've got to pronounce his name wrong. I'm sorry, but Nkuti Gatwa, who's now Doctor Who. His Yeah, who's Eric in Sex Education. I'd never seen his work before. I'd never heard of him, but you could just tell from like all the experience I have now. Just the way he walks in front of that camera and delivers that part. You can tell that's him. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously he's playing somebody else, of course, but that his interpretation, that character really, really suits him. And for me, he is the best actor in that series by
And
a
it's so
long way.
Yeah, and you can just people can smell the desperation, right? If you're going into an audition room and you're thinking, I got to get this job so that I can quit my
Yeah.
day job, pay my bills, and be famous and get a better agent. Whereas if, someone like that walks in and it's just easy breezy, this is my take on the role, like, I think I'm right for this role and I'm here to, this is what I say to my clients, right? A casting director doesn't ask you to audition because they think you're wrong for it and they're hoping that you prove them wrong. They are inviting you to audition because they think you're right and you're there to prove them right. They're only going to invite you to audition if they have confidence in you, because you are a reflection of them to the production and they want to impress production with people they think can do it. So I feel like actors talk themselves out of it or give themselves, oh, well, she's blonde, or like she's skinnier than me, or, she worked for the RSC, or she's friends with the casting director. Everything is giving you a yes. Give yourself a yes. Like, you're there to prove the casting director right, not wrong.
Mm. And also, they're on your side. They
Yeah.
want you to do well. They're like again going to Lucian's conversation. He said a lot of great things. He said they're behind. They need to solve a problem, and they're looking at you going, "Please be
Wow.
the one. Please be the one. Please be the one." They're on your side. They're on your side. They want you to do well and everything. And yeah, and go in there and just show them why you love to do what you do, which is acting, and why it makes you happy and everything else. So
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that's I know we talked about some really heavy stuff today, but it's important to sort of say, like, on a lighter note, you know, we are in control of our destiny. It's not all bad, but and the fact we have had this quite heavy conversation, we're more alert to things now. And you know, if you go listen to Alexa's show, the 98%, there's a ton of episodes on so many different aspects I didn't even know were a thing. Like I mentioned earlier, fake self-tape scams. Teresa again, the casting director stuff. I didn't know that was ever going to happen. But but we are growing in awareness. We're growing in a movement now where we can clear out the swamp of this industry and make it a better place. And I think it's having these conversations, and of course the many conversations you have on your show, Alexa, that will ultimately help it to become a much better and more a happier place and more fairer place more than anything. Yeah, we're
I
definitely in the
like
right direction.
Helen Raw, who I mentioned, she had to leave the industry because the reports that she was taking on about abuse and stuff and the threats that she was getting took such a mental toll. And
Mm.
because, like she said in our episode, she can't turn on the television without seeing someone on her list. And that just depressed her too much. So I would very much be in the same boat. Like, if I didn't love acting so much, if this wasn't who I was, if this wasn't the industry I want to be in and the work I want to do. So I'm still here. I'm working through the bullshit. I just want people to be aware that it's there to take the power back. Actors, let's stop bum licking on Twitter when a casting director tweets a disparaging tweet about actors and, oh, why do actors do this? And then people in the comments, oh, I would never do this, or I'm free for an audition if you want me instead. Like, you don't know these people. We're talking about people first, actor second, person first, casting director second, person first, producer second. This industry is full of amazing people, and I would like to say, more amazing people than not. However, there's bad people too, and therefore bad people equals bad producer, bad casting director. So let's just view each other on an equal playing field. I couldn't do my job without you, but you couldn't do your job without me, and just get back into the fun of the arts, of like why we're in it in the first place. So yeah, if there's a lot to think of to get you down, but the only way that we can make that better is by being in it and doing what we can to make this a safer, happier, more supportive place. So and that's why I'm really privileged to have acting with Alexa. Like, I don't think I would have it without the 98% and sort of the audience that I have and the very clear aims that I have within this industry. And I make it affordable, accessible. I'm not doing it because I'm like, oh, this is a new way that I can make money. I just feel like I have so much to share, to help, and I hope people listening to this episode perhaps agree. But I would love to leave my restaurant job part-time and to be able to put all of this passion that I have for helping actors just live a happy, fulfilled, confidence filled, empowering life in this industry, because at every turn, this industry will try and beat you down, whether that's with radio silence when you write to people, or no's from auditions, or lack of work, or you film, my job in Fresh Meat when I graduated was like a guest star, and the story that I was in was cut from the episode for time. So my entire scenes were cut except for one line. If and when that happens to you, I don't want you to be in the pits of despair. Let's just
No.
take what this industry throws at you, but come at it with just going, I still know that through it all, I am valid, I am talented, I am confident, I am happy, I am fulfilled, I am successful, whether this industry deems me successful in the tiny, minute way that they portray what success is, whether they think that or not. Like, I am successful, you are successful, Oliver, and everyone listening to this is successful because we're waking up every morning and we're doing the damn thing.
Yeah. Amen. Amen to that. Oh, brilliant stuff. Alexa, just got two more questions for you. But I think you've probably answered this next one already. But if there is a different answer, I'm going to throw it out there anyway and see what happens. Okay. What would you say was a piece of advice you wish you heard when you were starting out?
um, something along the lines of there is no guarantee, and you can work the hardest and be the best and be the most talented in the room and give the best read and do the best work and want it the most, and it's not necessarily gonna, like, that might get someone somewhere, but that's not necessarily the stepping stones of or how it works. So know that, and instead of having that be depressing, have that be liberating, of going, I am just going to forge my path in this career. Like, my goal when I started was to make it, whatever that means. I don't even think that means anything anymore. But my goal now is to do good work with good people, and have a good time doing it.
Yeah.
And once you change the parameters of your goals within something like that, you notice that that looks like a lot more than being a series regular or starring in a film. That can look like starting a podcast and having something that only, like, I started the 98% because there was nothing in my career that I was in control of. And I thought, I need something that I am in control of what happens with. And look what happened there. Like, 6 years later, and all the stuff we're doing. So have that be liberating, of going, nothing is guaranteed. Therefore, you just have to focus on what's right for you, not what you think the industry deems right to be whatever you think success is.
Exactly. Exactly. Jen, just before I ask the final question, I just want to give a quick shout out to Katie as well, your host. Hope all is well, Katie. And I had another thing in my head, and now I've just
I'll
completely.
jump in there and say, yes, Katie Ellen Salt, actor, writer. She's
Yeah.
just her master's as a music therapist. She's going to be starting a like a theater company, or um what's the term, like youth for children with special educational needs, or disabilities. She's doing incredible work. Katie Ellen Soul, go follow her. She's just a beacon of light in this industry. And yeah, the 98% wouldn't, while I'm like sort of at the helm of producing and running it, it wouldn't be what it is if it weren't for her and her, just wonderfulness over the years. So
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, big shout out to Katie. I'm very aware that I've still got so many more questions for you, Alexa. I mean, I'd love to have you back to talk about. I know you said earlier you don't talk about how the work and stuff like that on your own show, but the next time I'll have you back, I want to talk about your work. I want to talk about the short films. Uh, yeah, yeah. If anyone who wants to see Katie in action with Alexa, there's a short film, Hers is Hers. It's a,
Hers. It's called Hers.
oh, is it Hers? Is it okay? Just
I quite like that name. Hers is hers, but yeah,
Hers
it's
is
hers.
Hers.
You can find it on my link tree, which is in my Twitter and my Instagram. My Instagram is Alexa_Morden. And in my link tree, there's a few short films that I've done. One of them is Hers. But yeah, like, that was an example of, I wasn't getting any work. This was during that time after the BAFTAs. And I was like, fuck it, I'll make my own then. And I used the connections I made. The script pretty much wrote itself, because
Yeah.
just amazing, and I love writing women, and I asked Katie to do it with me, and she said yes, and we had the best time, and it went to film festivals, and now I can call myself a producer. So yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So anyone who's interested in seeing Katie and Alexa, seeing Alexa in action, go check that film out. I've seen it. It's brilliant. It's about two girls in a bathroom at a party, and they just talk about stuff. And it's just the stuff that you hear is just, it's brilliantly written and brilliantly acted. And yeah, go check it out. Go check it out. Yeah, and trying to think what that other thing was going to say, but now it's gone now. So it'll come back. It'll come back when I stop recording, so that'd be really helpful.
Save it for part two.
Yes, we'll save it for part two, exactly. But the final question for today is, what would you say was an experience or experiences you've had in your career up to this point that you're never, ever going to forget?
Probably things we've already mentioned: the BAFTAs,
Yeah.
being at Kensington Palace, at the pre-BAFTA party, meeting Amy Adams in the toilet, at the BAFTAs, being in breathing distance to Viola Davis, and just having that, all the hope in the world, and then nothing coming to fruition that I hoped, but then that leading to things like Hers, and constantly sort of trying to inspire myself of going, I wonder if I could write and produce a short film. Okay, I'll try. I wonder if I could, produce a podcast. Okay, I'll try. I wonder if I could write a feature film. Okay, here I go. Those sort of things that are only really happening because the phone isn't ringing off the hook.
Mm.
And then, yeah, The Color of Spring and, my first lead role in a feature film and being so nervous. The first few nights of filming were all night shoots. So, filming from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. in this old haunted theater and performing as Lady M. So the movie is about an actress. The movie is about 98% actress trying to, find acting work. And she does, and she gets a role as Lady M. So being able to do Shakespeare in a film at the same time. And then the director, Paul Kimball, pulled me aside and he said, when I'm on my deathbed, there'll be two things that I'll be happy that I did. One is marrying my wife, and the second is casting you in this role. I could not imagine anyone better. And after 3 years of no work, that moment was going, oh, so I'm not incapable, or I'm not good enough. It's just the way this industry is. And when I get the chance to act, I get nothing but good feedback. I make amazing connections. And it was them that asked me back to Lost in Time. Can you come back and lead our next feature film of the production company? So yeah, just forging my own path and those moments that make you go, I'm here thanks to my own hard work. And I worked through the tough times to get here, and now everything that's happened since. So yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Alexa, this has been an absolute joy. It's been a pleasure to not only learn from yourself just now, but also listening to your show. It's a really, really fascinating listen, and a very important one as well. We've done chapter and verse today on all the stuff that, needs to be improved and will be improved as well, I'm sure. We need to keep the vigilance, maintain faith in ourselves, and say no to things that we don't want to do, because it may seem like the career goes, I'll lose my career. It's like, no, that A, you won't, and B, there are much more important things out there than other people treating you like shit and accepting it. Don't accept that crap anymore, and know that you are worthy of a thousand great roles. And this is something I say to myself as well. And I say to anyone who's listening to this, you are worthy of anything that you want to achieve, and part of that is saying no to stuff that you don't want to do, and that's perfectly okay. And you are a leading voice in that movement, and I thank you for it, as well as I thank you for today. Fantastic stuff.
Thank you. Can I plug where people can find things?
Yeah, of course, go ahead.
The 98% podcast, you can find it on all platforms. We are on Twitter and Instagram at the 98% pod, although Twitter is just a dumpster fire now, and I refuse to call it X. So do come over to Instagram. I'm slowly trying to build the community over there that we have on Twitter. So you can listen to that wherever. And in our link tree, you can find our website, which has our blog. We have an amazing blog where we have guest, actors and creatives write things. If you enjoyed this chat, you might specifically enjoy the series finale, part 1 of series 5, which is Finding Joy in Your Journey. It, for me, started as a journal entry and then turned into an essay and then turned into a script for the podcast. It was, sort of a lot about what we've talked about today. And then if you like that, do go back and listen to the 98% from the start, because you'll hear me on a 6-year journey go from I am nothing but an actor and I'll never be happy unless I do X, Y, and Z, to now being the person that's saying everything that I'm saying now. Other standout episodes with my dad, Psychologist, series 1, episode 5. That's all about resilience, and then he's come back a few times. In series 5, he came back. We did an episode on process versus outcome goals, and the title is Your World is Subjective and You Can't Change That. And then that brings me on to Acting with Alexa. You can find my website, actingwithalexa.com. Please email me if you have any questions or you want to talk about having a session. The email is actingwithalexa@gmail.com. But do check your spam. My email responses keep going long. Some people think I'm ignoring them, and I hate that. So please check your spam. And then please do follow my new Instagram page, acting.with.alexa. It's very new, but I have plans as the summer comes to an end and I have more time of putting resources on there, tips, tricks, advice. And yeah, I'd love to have a session with any of you. And then you can find me personally on Instagram, Alexa_Morden, and Twitter, Alexa Morden. And yeah, in my link tree, you can see my work and see all the things. So yeah, thank you for checking out my stuff and supporting and being part of this community of trying to make this industry a nicer place for everyone. And thank you, Oliver, for inviting me on today.
You're more than welcome. This conversation will continue in the future. Still many more questions about the work, how you shoot your short films, writing, everything, but we'll save that for next time. But in the meantime, Alexa, if you just hang on, I'll finish the recording. We'll have a little debrief afterwards. So you just hang on after I finish. But yeah, wow, fantastic stuff. I need to go over lie down after all that. That's great. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This has been the Uncensored Critic podcast, and I will be back very, very, very soon. And until next time, Alexa Morden, thank you so much.
Thank you.